the blockchain breeze. He's live every day, decode the mazes. JJ's cryptic corner, where the coins keep turning. Log in now, the future's burning. JJ's cryptic corner, JJ's cryptic corner. Pixels glow, charts flow, crypto whispers, secrets show. He cracks the code on this winding road. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic corner. JJ's cryptic. Tune in, lean back, grab your coffee, hit the track. JJ's live, don't be late. Cryptic wisdom, seal your fate. JJ's cryptic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Happy Sunday. How's everyone doing today? Sound off in the chat. Smash the like button on your way in. And let us know your opinion on the poll in the chat. Will we see an Iran ceasefire / peace deal before Wednesday? Your options are yes, taco again. No, Iran don't want deal. Yes, Iran is terrified and wrecked AF right now. Or no, we, USA, don't want deal. Let me know what you guys think. What's going on, Philly Gourmet Brands? Appreciate you guys for being here. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way in. Everybody, smash the like button. The like button requires smashing. Hey, we are still in the bunker. The fear-mongering is real. Bitcoin struggling to have any semblance of dealings with 68,000. We are at $67,840.01. In my opinion, and this is me having a very strict opine, if you will, I'm guessing, and this is also very incredibly pessimistic of me, so excuse my pessimism, that we're going to go down to 51,500 now. That is my target from our 58% pullback, going all the way back to the 2018, not 2020, to the 2018 bull market, bear market. 84%, 71%, 58%. It makes sense. The trajectory changes. It becomes more violent every single time. And the amount that it crashes becomes less and less every single time. 84%, 71%, 58%. It might even be less. We might bottom sooner. But if we just go by that 58% mark, we're looking for 51,500. The fractal that everyone was, I don't know, insisting that was like the fractal that was going to play out. It says that we've basically reached our bottom at this point. We're not going to go any lower than our lowest point, which is right here at approximately $60,001. Exactly, actually, which is kind of crazy. So we'll see what happens. Back on the 4-hour time frame on our regular chart. Let's go refresh our liquidation heat map and see where we're at. What's going on in crypto spaces? HQZ. What did Philly say? Philly said, I'm closing all your polls. They're annoying. Crypto Spaces said, dang, Philly, chill out. HQZ said, Sunday dumps, Monday pumps. I like the polls. Crypto Spaces said, Siren on Binance exploded CZ and his cabal making his Chinese friends rich. I actually saw that. I'm kind of bummed that we didn't ape into anything. I don't know. You're not going to catch everything. Hindsight is 20/20. It's all that stuff. So there's always going to be some that are going to pop off. We've got 68,498. 68,498. We've got the top. I'm gonna go all the way up because I can. 71,529. And then the bottom, the top of the bottom, we've got 67,506. And the bottom of the bottom, we've got 64,789. All right. So that's where we're at as far as liquidation heat map goes. Bitcoin's just kind of laddering down. RSI is nice and sideways, lingering. The fractal decoupling is real. The question is, where are we heading from here? We got kind of a funky head and shoulders potential here. If that is the case, our frugal target is approximately, not financial advice, 60. I'm gonna call it 65.5. We'll call it 65.5. Let's see if 65.5 ends up holding. If we're going to retrace all the way down there. Bitcoin dominance struggling as well. Double top rejection kind of set up right here at 59. We're heading towards 58.5. If we lose that, then next target, I suppose, is 58. If this thing finally gets below 57.68 with some conviction, then we could see some relief for altcoins. As of right now, though, we're just watching and waiting. Gold looked a little hopeful for a microsecond. 44.28 current level. It opened green, or I guess it opened down and then it turned green, and it looked decent for, like I said, for a hot second, and now we're back in the red on the 4-hour time frame. Silver down 0.53%, holding up better than gold percentage wise, but still not looking too hot. This had a similar setup where it opened in the red, turned green, and now it's red again. 67.59. Market's incredibly indecisive and standoffish right now. DXY doing the thing that everything else is doing as well. We got the sideways chop action. I don't know really what to make of it. It's kind of trying to decide if it's going to hold 99.5 or not, it seems. Nasdaq also opened, gapped down, but then turned green. So there's potential here for a recovery, but I'm not entirely sold. I think that this Doom fractal looks really good because it's weirdly following it very nicely. So we'll see how far we end up going, what we look like towards the end of March. No matter what, oddly enough, springtime looks relatively decent. I think, what is the first day of spring? Is that today? Or was that yesterday? First day of spring, 2026. March 20th. It was 2 days ago. Okay, very nice. Friday was the first day of spring. Spring is allegedly the best time to invest. I think they forgot to dump it before they pumped it, so now they're doing that right now. What else do we got? We talked about the DXY, S&P. Still waiting for this. Yeah, everything else we're just kind of waiting for markets to open on Monday morning. Altcoin market's quiet. Really nothing going on, to be honest. ETH, dumping. Solana, dumping. Total 3, dumping. ADA, dumping. SNEC, dumping. Midnight, dumping. XRP, dumping. Ooh, XRP is officially back below the upper trend line. That's sad. It actually had a little bit going for it. So what concerns me about this, actually, with XRP specifically, obviously there's not a ton of confluence with this lower trend line, but we do. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3. This is number 4 now. Interesting. Are we going to break down? We've talked about a million times, anytime there's any kind of wedge, triangle, symmetrical, or otherwise, on cryptocurrency, the first move is the false move. That would be this move right here was the first move. Is that the false move to the upside, and then we're going to break to the downside and fall pretty dang hard? I don't know. People were originally targeting $1 for XRP. We got down to like 112. I would have called that a win, but if we're going to break down, $1 might be the target. We are almost oversold. I don't want to get bearish right here because I feel like that's silly, but it's not looking too hot, honestly, especially with stuff like gold and silver dumping. Crypto's probably not going to hold up against those, but who am I? You know, maybe I'm crazy. Stock market trying. It's definitely a weird mixed bag of investing right now. Everything's kind of at the local lows. Whew. Oh no, Polkadot. That's so sad. Polkadot was doing so good. Maybe it's a retest. Maybe we'll see if we hold 140. Avalanche well below 9 or well below 10 at 905 right now. Chainlink broke below the lower trend line of its ascending channel. This is incredibly bearish. Chainlink might go down pretty dang low from here. Not financial advice. See what happens. And Doge. Similar to Chainlink, actually, it looks like, without the ascending channel. The formality of the ascending channel. Crypto Spaces said tips to make money faster, chat. To make money faster. Okay, so here's what my tips are not going to be crypto at all. Yeah, HQZ, construction jobs, 100%. I do side gigs, man. Let's go to the bar. Hang on. Go to the bar. Okay. The way that I make my money is through side gigs, and I guess the hardest part is to establish the network to get the jobs. Facebook Marketplace is huge, or even just Facebook pages, communities, people like Nextdoor, the Nextdoor app. That's a different place as well, where you can find people that are like looking to get stuff done. People need work on their computers. People need their smartphone or tablet screen fixed. I can do all that stuff. I do it all the time. I'm known like throughout everyone's family as the tech guy, and the construction guy. So anyone needs a fence put up, I'm the guy. Anyone needs some shrubs planted, I'm the guy. Anyone needs a computer built, I'm the guy. Anyone needs a screen fixed, I'm the guy. Try as much as you can to become the everything person around everyone that you know. I do 3D design on the computer as well. Somebody wants to remodel their bathroom or knock down a wall in their house. They need construction documents. I can do whole construction documents. I send them to an architect. The architect stamps them or tells me what to change and then stamps them, and then we're good to go. Same thing. You have to, and I kind of accidentally stumbled into this. I went to college for information technology. I realized that I was kind of being scammed by the college, and I dropped out. And I had a $14,000 college bill, and I filed to have that forgiven because eventually the college actually dissolved. It was no longer there. Credits didn't transfer anywhere. So in 2012, 2013, I filed for my student loans to get forgiven because I couldn't use what I paid for. And I think in 2018, 2019, they were finally forgiven after being denied, mind you. So that was cool. But I know about computers through my own personal research, and I know about hands-on, like building them and stuff like that, same thing. And then I got a job in an office that happened to be working in architecture, and then I went on to do construction and landscaping and machine operating, and I do all my own mechanic work. Pretty much anything that you can do that's hands-on, I would do, and that's huge. The most amount of money I ever made in one day was $800, and it was by myself, and that was all profit, and it was just physical labor for like 4 hours. That's insane. That's $200 an hour. I have not made that much money per hour since then. But it's a huge wake-up call. If you do the right thing, you can get paid a pretty penny for it. That would be my advice. Just figure out things that you're good at and go out and do them. And if you're not good at them, then be honest. Like, hey, I'm new to the whole landscaping thing. I'm just getting started, but because of that, I'll give you a really good rate. And if you want to use me, these are the hours that I'm available. Being transparent is completely free, and it goes a long way. Buy the dip poll? That's a good question. Yeah, we'll do that one next. Anyways, crypto, number go down. DCA opportunity definitely presenting itself. Bitcoin actually turned green here. Interesting. 68, 158. Are we going to get a big fat pump here? Is there going to be some crazy news coming out of the White House? I'm going to go straight into the news segment because there's really nothing else going on. This cracked me up. So I had to show it to the chat because it's really funny. This dude, he puts him in the tunnel and then he gets sucked down. I was cracking up. I'm like, dang, that's got to suck so bad. Because then you're worried about losing your job because what if somebody goes down while you're not there, That's too funny. Poor guy. All right. This one. So a lot of people in the chat recently have been talking about how people on Pump Fund are still making profits and stuff like that, like 80% or something, or 30% of people are still profitable on Pump Fund. And I don't think the statistics even point to that. So this I thought was topical and entertaining to look into. The top 250 Pump Fund deployers, so people actually executing contracts on Pump Fund, extracted $79 million from the trenches, deployed 194,000 tokens, 1,100 per day in the last 6 months, produced only 10 tokens with a 5 million plus market cap. full list. So basically, these people probably got bots just running all day, shilling on X and minting new coins. And they probably give them $100, and then they just let them go, and then they make $79 million. So I don't know, if you want to put the time and effort into doing that and potentially go to prison, that's all. It's entirely on you, man. Gourmet said the bar is great. Oh, wait until you see the. Have you seen Gourmet Brands? I don't think has seen Fireside Chat. We got to have a Fireside Chat discussion before I can implement it, though. That is the rule. 88 said, aren't we talking like making money with the money we have? Oh, I don't know. Why can't that be the same thing? You're investing in yourself. I think time is the best investment. You put your time into something and you get a return on that. And then the money buys you more time later, personally. But why can't you invest in starting a business? Anyways, Watcher Guru posted, Bitcoin crashes under 69K as President Trump threatens to obliterate Iran's power plants if Strait of Hormuz is not opened within 48 hours. $240 million liquidated from the crypto market in the past 15 minutes. That was literally yesterday. Elon Musk says SpaceX will build cities on the moon, Mars, and send spaceships to other star systems. Michael Saylor hints at buying more Bitcoin. The Orange March continues. Absolute legend. Iran warns it will completely close the Strait of Hormuz after President Trump threatens to obliterate its power plants. 20% of the world's oil supply passes through the strategic waterway. We know. We know, bro. We know. Weekly recap. 1. SEC approves Nasdaq rule to allow tokenized stocks and securities trading. 2. Senators reach deal with White House to resolve crypto stablecoin yield dispute with banks. 3. SEC and CFTC issue joint guidance confirming most crypto assets are not securities. 4. PayPal officially enables stablecoin access in 70 countries. 5. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says the crypto markets and the millions of Americans who participate in them deserve long overdue clarity. 6. CFTC Chair Michael Selig says crypto will power the new frontier of finance as markets move on-chain. 7. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says he's eliminating impractical rules to advance, clarify, and transform financial markets. 8. U.S. national debt reaches a new all-time high of $39 trillion. That right there, just the size of that number shows you how much that doesn't matter. 9. Elon Musk's XAI recruiting Wall Street bankers, portfolio managers, and traders to train Grok on financial modeling. And 10. Fed Chair Jerome Powell warns rising energy prices from U.S.-Israel war with Iran will drive inflation higher. No shit. Marty Party posted Trump on Iran and Strait of Hormuz. If Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate the various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Very cool. Trump on Iran. We are getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East. With respect to the terrorist regime of Iran, I think we read this yesterday. Completely degrading their missile capability, destroying their defense industrial base, even though they can still block the Strait of Hormuz, eliminating their Navy and Air Force, including their anti-aircraft weaponry, but somehow not their anti-boat weaponry, never allowing Iran to get even close to nuclear capability, protecting, at the highest level, our Middle Eastern allies, even though they've all been hit by missiles and explosives. Totally fine, right? This cracked me up, and I think it's hilarious, and I think we should have more of it. The FBI once launched its own token and deployed it on Ethereum to catch scammers. In 2024, the FBI launched a token called NextFund AI as part of an undercover operation called Operation Token Mirrors. They set up a fake company with a website and marketed it as an AI crypto project, then waited for market makers to offer wash trading services. 3 firms took the bait, and one guy described himself as the mastermind on a recorded call, then asked for $2,000 upfront to start pumping the volume. 18 people were charged across multiple countries, and $25 million in assets were seized. First time in history. U.S. law enforcement created cryptocurrency and rugged it at the same time. I think this is great. I think we should have more of this. This would be... imagine this as a TV show. Just digital entrapment or something like that. That would be awesome. Guys, don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate you guys for being here. 88 said, well, too late. They already made the threat back, right? Yeah, the threat back cracks me up too. 2 days ago, he pulling out. Today, he's talking about dumping on them. I don't get it. It's my favorite that I've seen so far. Somebody was talking about it. They're like, this is not 3D chess. This is not 4D chess. This is a magic 8-ball. And I was like, yeah. He's just like, we're going to blow them up. Never mind. We're pretty much done. We're going boots on the ground. We're looking to make a deal. Every day. Kind of like a bait card, but bait token. Dude, 100%. It's funny. I think that's great. Good stuff. All right. We got 5 votes on the poll. 80-20. I'm going to do it. We're going to end the poll, and then we're going to go poll number 2. Will we see an Iran ceasefire peace deal before Wednesday? I asked you guys. 80% of you guys said no, Iran don't want deal. 20% of you guys said no, we, USA, don't want deal. Dang. So pretty much no. The answer, 100% of you guys said no. What are you doing with the current market? Buying the dip, selling the fear, holding onto my cash, or converting to metals / safe haven. Start poll. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the poll in the chat. What are you doing with the current market? Buying the dip, selling the fear, holding onto my cash, or converting to metals / safe haven? Even though metals are suffering for some reason. I don't know. I haven't been observing for too long, but just the idea of gold and silver like collapsing like this. So the gold and silver are literally down more than Bitcoin is right now. That's crazy. What is going on? Hello? Doesn't make any sense. Silver is going for $50, I'm convinced at this point. Like, where the hell? $66 right now? Gold is just plummeting. Dude, Peter Schiff is freaking out right now. He's freaking out. It's crazy, dude. Crazy times. Crazy times. Bitcoin's red again, along with everything else except for like 2 coins that are up like 1/fraction. Lunar Entity said, scripts paint an interesting picture for cryptocurrency striking historic parallel. What do you got for me? Kobe SE later posted, is the market setting up for a rally? The S&P 500 is down 5% since the Iran war started, now 15 trading days into the sell-off. In previous geopolitical conflicts, U.S. stocks bottomed around day 15 on average, based on over 30 major geopolitical shocks since 1939. The current sell-off is tracking almost exactly in line with the historical average and median path. After the typical bottom, the average recovery lasted for 40 trading days. From there, stocks tended to move higher after reaching their pre-event levels. Is the usual geopolitical playbook set to repeat? Honestly, I would hope that this would be the case. And maybe this is giving them too much credit, but imagine this is Trump's strategy all along, because he's done this 1,000 times. It feels like every other month there's suddenly some big conflict. He's like, we're going to bomb this place and we're going to take over Greenland and Venezuela, and like every other month there's something new. And then for whatever reason, everything happens, and even if he's just like, never mind, we won, bye, the market skyrockets afterwards. So I don't know if he's creating like this artificial laddering pattern. It's just kind of weird, because we are still, how far? Let's actually go take a look at the S&P 500. It's not even that far from its high. All-time high S&P 500. We are currently approximately 7% down from the all-time high. You know what I mean? We're creating these artificial pullbacks, and with each one we go higher every single time. So is it just to stop this from happening with a giant 20% pullback? You know what I mean? Instead of that, this is a lot easier, you know, the smaller pullbacks in between. Think of the scaffolding analogy. It's just kind of fast tracking a proper like bull scenario. I don't know. Again, maybe that's giving them too much credit, but he's got smart people around him. Scott Bessent is like spooky how smart that guy is. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they don't know what the heck they're doing, but it's definitely up in the air. Lunar Entity said scripts were used in place of paper and metal currency during periods of financial turmoil in the early 1830s and 1880s, periodically between 1908 and 1935. Companies issued them as a means of imitating sovereign solvency for local governments during periods of banking and federal insolvency. Interesting. Okay. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's exactly like this, but that what you just described reminds me of when you used to work for like the gold miner, and the gold miner would give you these slips of paper for like company credit, and that company credit you could spend at the company store and pay for your company lodgings, and they kind of provided everything that you need in like the least communist way possible. HQZ said he thrives off drama. Remember his WWE appearance? Oh yeah. Lunar Entity. Okay, yeah, we read that. Okay, let's continue. Breaking. The Trump administration. Did we read all of this? Yeah. The Trump administration has begun, this was posted yesterday, initial discussions on what a potential peace deal with Iran might look like. U.S. officials are planning below terms: no missile program for 5 years, zero uranium enrichment, decommissioning of the reactors, and at these 3 places, strict outside observation protocols around the creation and use of centrifuges and related machinery that could advance nuclear weapons programs, arms control treaties with regional countries that include a missile cap no higher than 1,000, end of financing for Iranian proxy groups. U.S. officials said the expectations is there will be 2 to 3 additional weeks of fighting. Trump's envoys are involved in the discussion. Step number 9 of our conflict playbook is near. Dang. If you guys haven't already, go follow Kobe SE Letter on X and go check out their conflict playbook. It's actually pretty spot on. They did the same thing with tariffs, and it's 100% every single time. Breaking. More details emerge on the potential peace deal between U.S. and Iran per Axios. U.S. officials say there could be room to negotiate over returning frozen assets to Iran. They call it reparations. Maybe we call it return of frozen money, the officials said. U.S. says any deal to end the war needs to include the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, addressing Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium, also establishing long-term agreement on Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missiles, and support for proxies in that region. Iranian demands include ceasefire, guarantees that the war will not resume in the future, and compensation. We expect an eventful week ahead. President Trump's team is currently trying to find the best point of contact for negotiations with Iran, along with country to mediate per Axios. Oman mediated the last round. Trump is seeking Qatar as mediator due to mutual distrust with Omanis. President Trump is trying to figure out who actually makes decisions. That's pretty bad. Fax machine talks. Okay. Talk about the event. Hang on. Here we go. The futures implied base case Fed pausing interest rate cuts until July 2027. To put this into perspective, the debate in late 2025 was whether Fed would cut rates 3 or 4 times in 2026. Last week, markets briefly showed a 50% chance Fed interest rate hike in 2026, even as President Trump's new Fed chair is set to begin as soon as May 2026. Rate cuts are being entirely priced out, all while one-year inflation expectations have surged to 5%, now the highest since the Fed was hiking rates. As a result, the 10-year note yield is now up 40 basis points since the Iran war began. The bond market can only weather the storm for so long. President Trump says the U.S. will obliterate Iran's power if Iran does not open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours. Bitcoin collapses below 68K after Trump threatens to obliterate their power plants. Over $240 million worth of levered crypto positions were liquidated in 60 minutes after President Trump threatened to obliterate Iran's power plants. President Trump over the last 36 hours. 3:40 p.m. on Friday. I don't want to do a ceasefire with Iran. 5:15 p.m. on Friday, considering winding down the war with Iran. 2 p.m. today, Axios reported Trump is planning peace talks. Now, if Iran doesn't open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, the U.S. will obliterate Iran's power plants. What's happening behind the scenes? I honestly, I could never, ever, ever successfully guess that. I wouldn't even bet on that. Not even $5. Lunar Entity said, this war has been extremely useful in crippling infrastructure that will strangle commodity markets, both sides delighting in wanton destruction of goods infrastructure. For a new monetary system, you need a mass deleveraging in a legacy system and destabilization of commodities markets. Dang, that's actually spooky. I didn't think about that, man. Breaking: President Trump is deploying ICE at U.S. airports to assist TSA agents beginning on Monday. A lot of people probably gonna get hurt. I don't think ICE has been briefed at all on standard TSA practices. How's that gonna look? As people walk up and then they're like, "Get on the effing ground, okay? Spread your arms, spread your legs, okay? Go feel them up. Don't move, hands." Like, what's the TSA gonna look like at the airport with the ICE there? You got your passport? Where's your effing passport? I'm gonna tase you. You better stop moving. Just crazy. No one flies anywhere ever again. Key events this week. Markets react to Trump's 48-hour warning to Iran today at 6 p.m. March S&P Global Service PMI data comes out on Tuesday. U.S. crude oil inventory data comes out on Wednesday. Initial jobless claims data comes out on Thursday. March Michigan consumer sentiment data comes out on Friday. March Michigan inflation expectations data also comes out on Friday. We expect another chaotic futures open today. Very cool. 88 said, should be some good content from the TSA lines coming up soon. Dude, honestly, I would, if I was an airport guy, I would pay, or I would expect people to pay me, actually. I would be contacting, like, what's the stupid people, the paparazzi people that buy all the stuff. It doesn't start with a T. TMZ. I would have TMZ. I would be like, listen, if you give me like $1,000 a camera, I will let you put cameras all over my airport. And you can just like put boom mics in the ceiling and stuff like that, and you could just make a reality show out of all of this. I think that would be hilarious. TMZ, yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of it. I was thinking of TSA, and then I was thinking of ICE. There's too many three-letter organizations. Watch TMZ get, like, they're going to send TMZ next. Trump, Toothpick said, Trump and his mates are making some big money at the moment from the markets. He's just playing with the markets. Iran responds to President Trump's threat to obliterate Iranian power plants if the Strait of Hormuz is not opened within 48 hours. Iran's response: Iran will completely close the Strait of Hormuz. Iran will hit vital infrastructure in the Middle East. This includes energy, information technology, and water desalination facilities. Desalination. That's what it is. Desalination. That's a stupid word. Iran's senior military commander says the country's military strategy has shifted from defensive to offensive. Iranian officials say the country has enough reserves of essential goods to last for up to 1 year. Trump deadline has 33 hours remaining. I'm not going to say words. I'm going to get in trouble if I continue to talk on the matter. Investor sentiment has shifted to extreme bearishness. No shit. 52% of individual investors expressed bearish sentiment over the next 6 months in the AAII survey for the week ending March 19th, the highest since May 2025. The bearish sentiment has risen 23 percentage points since early February, the largest increase since February 2025 amid the trade war. Meanwhile, just 30.4% of retail investors were bullish over the last week, the third lowest reading since May 2025. Overall bullish sentiment has declined for 8 consecutive weeks. As a result, the bull-bear spread is down to 21.6 percentage points, the widest gap since MAT 2025. I'm assuming they meant to say May. T and Y are right next to each other. Since May 2025. Where was I now? I lost my spot. There it is. And in line with the 2022 bear market levels, is market sentiment becoming too bearish? I don't know, dude. Have you seen the Doom posts? It's the echo chamber. I made a post actually on X earlier. It was really funny. I was like, you know what's crazy about all of this? The echo chamber is going to convince both sides that either side is winning. Here, let me actually just pull up the post. Guys, do me a favor. Go follow me on X. Okay, you know what's really funny about all of this? The echo chamber effect of X and all other social media sites means nobody actually knows what the F is happening anywhere anymore. Iranians are probably seeing all the pro-Iran, anti-US stuff thinking, oh, they're so screwed. Look at all the people that hate them. U.S. citizens are probably seeing all the pro-U.S. anti-Iran stuff, thinking, oh, they're so screwed. Look at all the people that hate them. Neither side knows what the F is happening. The internet and social media give us access to everything everywhere all at once, but only shows us things we agree with because we're subconsciously more inclined to click on things we enjoy. So we're only ever seeing stuff that confirms our bias. What a crazy time to be alive. So basically, by allowing us to see and hear and witness everything on the planet all at once, and tweaking the algorithm to only show us stuff that we enjoy, that we click on, that we interact with, and us being very simple creatures, only interacting with things we enjoy, because why would I watch things I don't like, are going to only see what the algorithm shows us, which is going to be the echo chamber. It's crazy. Man, silver's getting wrecked. Yeah, dude, silver's trash right now. What is going on? 65. This thing's going to $50. I've just come to terms with it at this point. Lunar Entity said last time we had a similar manipulation of commodities was August 1973. What oil did next 7 years was crippling. Waterfly said, I'm flying on Saturday. I will report on TSA. All right. I'm excited then. That's exciting. Travel safe, Waterfly. Cheers, my friend. Happy Sunday. Where are you going? He's like, Iran. We aren't aware this entire time. Waterfly is just like a really high-ranking military official. He's like going for negotiations or something. Okay. Yeah, silver and gold, man. Been big disappointment. What is going on? Okay. U.S. stock market futures open in 4 hours. Meanwhile, since markets closed on Friday, President Trump has both de-escalated and escalated the Iran war. It began with Trump claiming he was considering winding down the Iran war. And now President Trump has threatened the biggest escalation of the conflict yet, striking Iran's power plants. His deadline for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz ends in 30 hours, and Iran has completely resisted such demands. In fact, Iran said if the U.S. strikes their power plants, the Strait of Hormuz will be completely shut down, and they will target U.S.-Israeli infrastructure across the Middle East. The Iran war has officially begun its 4th week with another major escalation. Brace for volatility at the open. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. will have 50 days of higher prices for 50 years of no Iran nukes. Really? I thought, didn't they just get done saying that it takes them like a month to enrich uranium? Iran's Speaker of Parliament warns against purchasing U.S. Treasury bonds and calls them soaked in Iranians' blood. Purchase them, and you purchase a strike on your headquarters and assets, he says. That's a crazy thing to say, dude. You can't. I don't understand it, man. Energy stocks are experiencing a historic run. The S&P 500 Energy Index has reached 20 all-time highs so far in 2026, the most in a single year since 2013. By comparison, the longest streak over the last 36 years was 41 all-time highs in 2007. What happened the year after that? That's weird. To put this into perspective, during the 2004-2008 period, energy stocks hit all-time highs at least 10 times per year. Year to date, the S&P 500 Energy Index is up 29%, on track for the best annual performance since 2022. Since the 2020 pandemic, the index is up 367%, more than double the 175% return of the S&P 500. The bull market in energy stocks is gaining momentum. Crazy. Cointelegraph posted bearish polymarket bettors now price a 70% chance that Bitcoin drops below $55,000 in 2026, up 13% in recent weeks. President Trump threatens to strike Iran's power plants if the Strait of Hormuz isn't fully opened within 48 hours. Bitcoin dipped below 69K following the post. We are now sitting at 67,824 and struggling. Alts can't make up their minds, but if Bitcoin's going to drop, alts are probably going to drop too. All right, let me get back to the chat. 88 Metal said, that's a great post. Excuse me, sir. You cannot say that. Thank you. Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI announced TerraFab, the world's largest chip manufacturing facility aimed at powering AI satellites and Optimus robots. Yeah, can we get more chips and stuff in the United States? Seems like we don't make anything. I think that's our biggest issue, is we don't make shit. Latest unrealized profit ratio of ETH whale wallets holding 100K plus ETH has flipped back above zero. Historically, this has preceded 25% gains in 3 months and up 300% within a year per analyst. Very cool. I may purchase more Bitmine when the market opens. Because I think that this will have a better return on investment than MicroStrategy. Because how high can Bitcoin go? But who knows? I do like that they have some of their ETH staked and they're actually just earning yield on it. Like, that's smart. Today, crypto fear and greed index sits at 10. Extreme fear as market sentiment remains deeply negative. That was 18 hours ago. Let's see what today's fear and greed is sitting at. Back? I think we're back. Okay. They rugged my plug. Sign up for Kalshi if you want. It's gambling. Not financial advice. Let's check the current poll. 9 votes. We are not tied. I'm going to close it. Entity said, see you, Space Cowboy. All right, I asked you guys, what are you doing with the current market? 56% of you guys said buying the dip. 33% said holding onto my cash. 11% said converting into metal/safe haven. Nobody said selling the fear. I'm proud of you guys. Don't panic, sell the fear. If you're going to sell, make sure you're not panicking about it. Next poll. What do we got for the next poll? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? I'm thinking, do you think altcoins are ever going to recover? Yes, but all new alts. All new altcoins. No. Pump fun. Ruined altcoins. Yes, they always do every time. Or no trust left. It was a scam. Start poll. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the poll in the chat. Do you think altcoins are ever going to recover? Yes, but all new altcoins. No pump fund ruined altcoins. Yes, they always do every time. Or no trust left. It was a scam. Let me know what you guys think. Lunar Entity said the USA can't become a manufacturer with the currency as strong as it is. That actually makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense, because my next rant was going to be about how everything that we buy that's made here is ridiculously expensive. But that's because we have to pay the workers in U.S. currency, so that kind of makes sense. Okay. A Nevada judge temporarily blocks Kalshi from operating in the state for 14 days, ruling that its event contracts may violate state gambling laws. I think state gambling laws are a meme anyways. They can go F themselves. Crypto Spaces said most are dead forever. I mean, statistically, I think most would have to be dead forever. There's like, what, 80 million or something? Resolve Labs USR stablecoin loses its peg after an attacker exploits its contract to mint 80 million tokens, cashing out at least $25 million. I'm not going to lie. If I accidentally clicked some buttons and figured out that I could just money print, I would do that so hard. Is that messed up? Like, genuinely. Do you guys think that that's messed up and I should go to jail if I ever did that? Let's say I'm like playing around with Aave. I'm like, ooh, I've never done DeFi before. Maybe I have done DeFi, whatever. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be crazy if it broke and I did this? And I started clicking stuff and it did break. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could just use this to print money. And I extract like $50 million. And then I disappear forever. And they find me. Should I go to jail? It's a moral dilemma. It's not my fault that the code was broken. Maybe the people at Aave should be responsible. They should reimburse the people that lost money, fix the problem, and then consider my 50 million a bug bounty. I'm already stating my case. 88 said yes, that's messed up. Yes, you should go to jail. Would I blame you? No problem. Lunar Entity said they have been printing for nearly a decade, yet they refuse to revalue the yuan lower. So now they are exporting their deflation to avoid internal refinancing. Internally, they don't even use the yuan. The RMB is the real currency. Interesting. I've always wondered why China was able to have like 63% more currency, but their economy is like totally fine. I genuinely believe inflation is a meme. I was listening earlier to the Iced Coffee Hour with Peter Schiff, and he accidentally, when trying to like talk shit about Bitcoin, he defines gold, which cracks me up. And then he admits to being a coward, and then tries to say that Michael Saylor's the same thing. He's like, oh, I was talking shit about him, and then we were at the same event, and I didn't even go up to him because I was just done talking shit about him, so I just avoided him the whole time. And I was like, damn, that's literally a keyboard warrior. And then he goes around and he's like, I've offered to debate him, but he won't debate me. And I'm like, you just said you did the same thing, bro, in person. He was like, oh no, is that Sailor? Oh my God, please don't let him see me. I just said that he's an idiot on Twitter. Oh my God, is he looking over here? Does he see me? Does he see me? I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. It cracks me up, dude. Yeah, that's Graham Stephan, yeah. Lunar Entity said, internally... Oh yeah, I read that already. Yeah, Graham Stephan, yep. Bitcoin 67,666 and 83 cents. Everything else, well, some alts are trying. Would it be really funny if the entire altcoin market just flipped Bitcoin? We're just like LARPing fantasy at this point on the stream when it comes to altcoins. Cointelegraph posted Peter Thiel's Founders Fund is set to lead a new funding round, valuing Halter, a startup making AI-powered smart collars for cows, at over $2 billion. Who, you know what's really easy is not putting a collar on a cow and just letting it roam in a field. Lunar Entity said Sailor uses Bitcoin as an on-ramp to credit markets. Credit rules the world, and credit is essentially just debt. Yeah. Sailor hints at another Bitcoin purchase. The Orange March continues. Absolute legend. Resolve Labs says it is investing in the unauthorized USR minting incident. Confirms collateral pool intact with no asset losses. We are currently investigating a security incident involving unauthorized minting of USR. At this stage, the collateral pool remains fully intact. No underlying assets have been lost. So here's that next dilemma then. 88 Metals is for you since you're the only one that answered. So in this scenario, this made-up scenario, I figure out this exploit and I mint $50 million worth of this token, and I go peace out. Maybe the token, maybe it drops like 5%, 10% of the time, and then it recovers later, or whatever happens. I still get away with $50 million. But technically nobody lost money. Some people lost value on their money, but nobody lost any money because I created them. What about that? Should I go to jail then? And again, in my opinion, I feel like the problem is with the person who wrote the code that allowed that to happen. Because it's an exploit. It's not a hack. An exploit can actually be an accident in some cases. Which is where my plausible deniability comes in. I didn't know it was going to make $50 million. I thought that I just had some tokens that were suddenly worth $50 million. I was like, whoa, oh my gosh. I must have had some dust that the coin, did really well. So I cashed out. And now I'm in a country that doesn't extradite. All right. G7 foreign ministers pledged to protect global energy supplies and secure Hormuz Strait amid Iranian proxy attacks. I'm not going to lie. After this, I think Iran is so screwed. I think all these because it's like the weirdest scenario, dude. Like, imagine... I don't remember who I was watching. I think it was, I don't remember the guy's name ever. The guy that, is kind of a hoarder. He's very divisive. A lot of people don't like him. He was talking about it. He's like, it's like losing a game of Call of Duty online, and then you get up and you go punch your dog. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's kind of what Iran is doing. Every time they get hit with something, they're like, dang it! And then they bomb all of the surrounding countries that had nothing to do with what just happened to them. It's the weirdest thing, man. And they expect everyone to just, forget about it. Well, the only reason I hit you is because the United States was being mean to me. Okay, that doesn't mean that I'm going to let it go, bro. You still hit me. 88 Metal said, right, I think you're justifying it because it's decentralized compared to a exploit done on an insured, registered financial institution. Oh, no, I'm justifying it because it's an exploit in general. Insurance, I guess, is a lot easier to justify because it has insurance. But if something like Aave gets exploited, I think that it's their obligation to cover the losses for their any users, and then to fix the exploit, stop it from happening. And then if they decide to hunt down and attempt to press charges on the person that's responsible, that's up to them. 88 said, then no, you should be charged if caught. For an exploit? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very up in the air because it's an exploit. Again, if it was a hack, that's different. But an exploit, I think, is like if you go to a vending machine and you use a vending machine and it just dumps all the snacks out. Are you going to take all the snacks? Other people are going to take the snacks anyways. You could call the number and let them know, hey, this vending machine dumped all the snacks. I'm taking them. I guess that's a bad example because who the hell gives a shit about vending machine snacks? Okay, anyways, crude oil now dominates hyperliquid with 300 million in open interest, making it larger than any crypto or equity pair on the platform, Delphi Digital reports. That's crazy. 88 said, so you go to the gas pump, you put in 20, it fills up. That's an exploit? Hey, I like vending machines, what the F? Yeah, but I mean, if it shits out a bunch of Hostess donuts, do you actually give a shit enough to take all of those Hostess donuts? That's too many Hostess donuts. What's going on, Reese? Okay, gas pump. That's a good one. So if I'm at the gas pump, those are highly regulated. I would never be stupid enough to do that. But let's say it's Halloween. It's Halloween, and I've just bought this car, and I don't have a plate on it yet. I bought it that day. I don't have a plate on it yet. There's no plate on my car. I'm wearing a mask. I pump my gas. And it doesn't ask for payment, and it just, my whole tank gets filled up. That's a different situation. Because there's an employee that's probably going to get in trouble. I would pay for that. Because I don't want that innocent employee to have to pay for that. That's the equivalent of walking out of a diner, you know? And I don't want the waitress to have to pay for my bullshit. So I would pay for that. That's completely different. I feel like with crypto, there's a disconnect because there's no, like, poor, low pay, entry-level employee that's going to get screwed and the blame put on if I find an exploit. You know? It's the entire protocol. See, ATM is different as well. That's highly regulated and there's cameras everywhere. If I exploit a protocol on, like a cryptocurrency protocol, I find an exploit, maybe it's the plausible deniability, the reason that I'm trying to justify it. Or that I'm so okay with it. It's like, if there's 1,000 ATMs, and I don't even interact with it. Let's say I'm walking by and the one just starts spitting out money. I would probably grab all of that money and walk away. I would probably do that. But if there's just one, I don't know. I would be hesitant. I would be like, that's probably, you know, I don't know. I'm not going near it. But if there's a bunch of them, I feel like I'd maybe walk away at first, put my shirt over my head or something stupid. I would be, what was that one? Was that real? The guy that covered his face with lemon juice and robbed a bank, and he didn't know why they could see him because he thought that lemon juice like made his face like invisible ink or something like that. God, that's so ridiculous, dude. People are crazy. Maybe that's my future. I'm gonna devolve into one of those idiots. Google searches for help with mortgage hit all-time high, exceeding even 2008 financial crisis levels. This is sad to me. I will not celebrate this. I don't want anybody to lose their home. I think that's actually fucked up. So, I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen for that to be fixed, but I think it's actually very sad. Bitmine is now 76% complete with its goal to own 5% of ETH supply. Very cool. Mark Chadwick posted, good. Now that everyone's given up on crypto, tank gold and rotate those trillions into alts when Clarity Act passes. That was a good one. I posted this Keith D video, and he said, or reposted it, he said, this is exactly why crypto is about to literally explode. In the 2000s, the Commodity Futures Modernization Act opened the floodgates for derivatives. That market skyrocketed from 100 trillion to 600 trillion in just a few years. Fast forward to today, the SEC and CFTC just classified most crypto as commodities, which means anything built on these rails puts hundreds of trillions of dollars into play. If Clarity does for crypto commodity tokens what CFMA did for derivatives, that's 2.5 trillion to 15 trillion. 50x to 100x plus potential isn't unrealistic if they become the rails for collateral, settlement, and liquidity. This is what they're really doing, and this is what made the U.S. the center of global finance. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? HODL, we have a few good years of insanity, then we all know how it ends. I couldn't agree more, actually, but I'm not a financial advisor. 88 said, walking by, spitting money, grab it, and you put your card in and it starts spitting money, call the bank, right? Oh, 100%. 100%. Got to make sure that I wouldn't even call the bank. I would just check my account online. And then if my money's still good, then that's whatever. Maybe call the ATM operator like, hey, and I would lie about the amount. I would like pocket like 90% of it and be like, hey, your ATM just spit out 10K. What do you want me to do something with it? I'm dropping it off at the police station. Who is this? My name's Anonymous. Call him from a payphone. You know, payphone's still $1 billion business. Isn't that crazy? Stock Money Lizard's first time in like a month that they posted. Bitcoin, time for an update. As it looks at the moment, the macro news flow will support the chart in what has been going on. Bitcoin has lost the 50 EMA once again. The global crisis feels more insecure today than it did 2 weeks ago. Combined with the chart, it looks like we could be revisiting the sub 60K area in what I would call an FTX-like situation. I don't believe we dive much lower. 53K is my personal max pain zone. Lots of opportunities coming midterm. I believe Bitcoin will reclaim 100K before the year ends. Not financial advice. I'm still looking for my 51,500 if we are going to get juicy like that, but I'm having a hard time believing that. I don't even know. I'm having a hard time believing anything is going to happen because we've been so sideways and stupid since the beginning of February that I'm bored. I'm bored now. I'm about to buy and flip a car because crypto's been so boring and stock market's been so boring. Gourmet said, "Gotta run, guys. Have a great week. Take it easy, Gourmet. Appreciate you. Cheers, my friend. Happy Sunday." 88 said, "Of course, she should have seen all the money it was spitting out, and the wind was blowing it away. Operators say, 'Excuse me, sir. We can see on the cameras.'" And then I would simulate it blowing away. I wouldn't know that it fish eyes, so I'd be like standing like right here, and you could very clearly see me. But I would think I was out of view out of the camera, and I'd be taking the money. I'd be like, and then I would run around and be like, "Oh my gosh, it's blowing away! I can't get to it fast enough" in front of the camera. And then I would go and pick it all up, and I would shove most of it in my pocket, and then I would go up to the camera and I would be like, "Oh my gosh, I was only able to save 10% of what it spit out." How do you know exactly how much it spit out? All right. Tech Dev. Ooh, post from Tech Dev. Your definition of the cycle may need to change. Tech Dev thinking we're going to have an extended cycle and number go up soon. That'd be pretty cool. See what happens. Wife on the other side of the fan with the garbage bag, right? We have to, they can like hear us planning it. Like it's not working. I'm like, we have to put small holes in the end so the money doesn't fly out, but the air can flow through. That way it creates a vacuum effect. Michael Saylor, the Orange March continues. Alex Mason, I think he's a permit bearer, I could be wrong, posted, "I have perfectly predicted this pump. Now Bitcoin follows a descending channel pattern." He's looking for us to go from 97K to 51K, then to 62K. I don't know what any of that means. Remember, I was the only one publicly calling the bottom. Yeah, right. So that guy's mad. Bitcoin is building toward the 81K CME gap. I think it's 84, isn't it? Am I crazy? Why do I feel it's more than that? Yeah, it's 84,260. Higher lows, ascending trend line, open gap above. 3 signals pointing at the same level. 74K is the trigger. Break it. 81K gap fill begins. Lose 68K. Trend line breaks. Gap delayed. If CME gaps have a 90% plus fill rate, this one is sitting right above us. Dang. We'll see what happens. Bull Theory posted, breaking. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz says striking Iran's nuclear power plant is not off the table. Waltz said the IRGC controls a large part of Iran's critical infrastructure economy and governing institutions, and all options remain open. Crazy, crazy stuff. Bull Theory also posted, breaking. Iran's Parliament Speaker Halilbaf warns that any financial institution funding the U.S. military budget is now a legitimate target. Iran says U.S. Treasury bonds are soaked in Iranian blood, and any institution buying them is financing the attacks. Goldman Sachs and Standard Chartered have already pulled staff from Gulf offices. The global financial system is now part of this war. Wow. That's actually really topical because Lunar Entity, I think, was just talking about that. Wouldn't that be crazy if they just blew up all the banks? Lunar Entity said A-rated credit spreads made a higher or a lower high on the weekly. B-rated working on printing one. Curious. You got to explain it to me like I'm 5. Next. We've got Crypto Fergani. Everyone is bearish, but I am telling you the bottom is in. Capitulation is over. Weak hands are gone. Altcoins will do 10 to 100x on average. This is your last warning. If you still think this is a bear market, you deserve to miss what's coming. I've been on here for 10 plus years, and I'll keep you updated on everything like I always do. If you still haven't followed me, you'll regret it. This guy gets 597 likes, but if I post like some actual topical thing, I don't get shit. He worked hard for it though, clearly. I'm gonna copy paste this. I'm gonna copy paste that and make a post about it. I gotta make a post that I can put that at the end of. Alt season alert from Crypto Gems. This is not normal. This is the exact setup before altcoins go vertical. For your base complete. Alt season starts any day now. Who's loading before the moonshot? Retweet if you're ready. Bar chart posted 10-year treasury yield spikes to 4.39%, the highest level since July. Warren Buffett, quote, I would still be buying stocks even if World War III broke out. I actually agree with that 1,000%, even though Warren Buffett was like selling and he's cash heavy now, or he was cash heavy before he retired. Lunar Energy said weakness in credit spreads signals stress in credit markets, weakening strength signals an unwind. Okay, so 2008, again, 2008 2.0. Very cool. Jim Cramer on March 19th said, very oversold. Bar chart posted, dear God. The man never fails. 30-year mortgage rate jumps to 6.88%, the highest level since September. Thank you, Donald Trump. There is now a 6% chance of an April rate hike and a 0% chance of an April rate cut. Uh-oh. Breaking gold suffered its biggest weekly decline in more than 40 years. What the hell, Peter Schiff? What the hell? Philippines peso collapses to an all-time low against the U.S. dollar. That is very sad. Google searches for help with mortgage have soared to the highest level in history, surpassing even the peak of the global financial crisis. Again, that's also very sad. We got some confessions. Lunar Entity said rejected the 365 EMA in April 2025, now rejecting the 200 EMA in March 2026. Spreads down equals risk up. Lower high suggests the market still has another leg to go if divergence plays out. All right. Confession number 1. I invested $40K into TAL between February 2018 and January 2021, watching it run to over $7 million and didn't sell a single coin because I was convinced 10 million was next. Round trip the whole thing, painful lesson. Now I'm holding half the original stack, still 6 figures and wiser for the next run. What? What? Cash out, bro. He has $5 million? I'm confused. I'm so confused. That's crazy. No, he probably only has 100 grand. Wow. Dude, if for some crazy reason my bags get up to 7 million and I don't cash out, the second that hits 3.5 mil, I'm out, fully exited, gone. And I've always said I'm never going to fully exit the market. Maybe I'd leave 100 grand in there. If you can't make millions off $100,000, then you're probably doing something wrong. Teacher said, yo, I should have bought Siren when I mentioned it. Sorry for caps. You'll see why when you check the chart. I've seen it already. I heard about it. Crazy, dude. Bam! Oh my God. 131%. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I think the screenshot that I saw, actually, this wick was a candle body still. So this thing at some point was up 400%. Dang, dude. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say this out loud just in case something crazy does happen. Allegedly, there's something cooking for Snick. Allegedly. I have no idea. It might just be hype building nonsense. 88 Metal said, what can you do with 10 mil that you can't do with 7 million? That's what I mean, dude. That's such a weird, like, I'm never going to get to that point where I'm like, well, hopefully it goes a little bit higher. If I hit $1 million, I'm probably cashing out. And again, then at that point, I can do whatever I want with my million. Maybe I'll put 10K back in, or I'll give myself 10K to play with. I'll put 5K back in, and then I'll ladder in the other 5, whatever. $1 million is crazy. 7 million is crazy. There's a psychological effect in holding assets similar to how trauma bonding works, right? Yeah, that makes sense. It really does. Effed off so much money in these damn magic internet coins. Bowden got me a TV and PS5, but that's basically all I have to show since the top of 2021 when I showed up. That is why I will always support profit taking, even like I said before, when markets are really down and I'm very sad and just bummed out about everything, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. This sucks. Investing sucks. I hate it all. It's all one big scam. Whenever I get into that mood, which isn't often, but when it does happen, I will sell. I will create a taxable event, and I will sell maybe $100 worth, maybe $200 worth. I'll take my family out to dinner. I'll pay a big bill, whatever. I'll fill up the gas tank. I'll buy myself some crap, whatever I want to do. And then I just that little teeny amount of money taken out, it just feels so much better, dude. Like, everything goes out the window at that point. I'm, like, devastated. I'm like, this sucks. And then I take a little bit off the table. And then I feel better, because I feel like I got something out of it. I'm not just constantly putting in and getting nothing back. I got a little bit back, and I feel better. Lunar Entity said, not everyone experiences this phenomenon. Those that do tend to lose money in asset markets on net. Yeah, that sucks, dude. We got 5 votes on the current poll. 12 people watching, guys. Go vote in the poll in the chat. Do you think altcoins are ever going to recover? So far, no is winning. Crazy. Bitcoin up 0.29% on the day, currently trading at $68,032, $33.29. What's it gonna be? Yeah, this dude, 7 to 10 million is nuts. Pump fund ruined my life. A month ago, I had 35K. Now I'm down to 3K. Everything in crypto is bullshit, scam, and LARPs. I wish I had kept it and started doing some real business IRL. All that's left now is regret. And again, this is unfortunately this is that mindset trap that you get into. If you made 35K to begin with, to be able to invest that, you can do it again. You got 3K left, take it out. You know, start looking at it a different way, and build upon what you got. Lesson learned. You learned a $32,000 lesson. I joined crypto in 2017 with 10K. I'm leaving crypto now with 1.4 million in debt. That is insane. I'm not a financial advisor, but personally, I will never, ever, ever, ever take on debt to invest. Ever. Zero. I'm debt-free right now. The only time I will take on debt is when I purchase a home, unless I can help that. I would love to purchase a home with cash. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if it does, sweet. I don't know. I'm not going to do it. Lunar Entity said, I think I suggested a little 2015-2016 run back on the S&P monthly. Let's go see. Is that the one that we have up there right now? You said the monthly. That might be the one that we have up there. You said 15, 16? It's 08. 15, 16? Okay. $15, $16, all the way to the end. Bam. Take that little guy. Bring it on around town. Oops. There's too many lines in the chart. What are these lines for? Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Potential pullback level. No, irrelevant. Am I leaving that on there? I'll leave it on there. I'm so sorry. All right. This little guy. I mean, yeah. No. Actually, I think we're lower than that. But obviously, adjusted for inflation, sure. Let's go back to the daily and just observe the fractal, man. The fractal looks pretty dang good, actually. Fractal dictates a potential 6250 stopping point for a bounce. We'll see what happens. And if we do get that bounce, it looks like we won't be back at all-time highs until September, which will unfortunately mean the 4-year cycle crypto people will probably be right. And then Ben Cowan's going to sing his praises from the rooftop, even though he flip-flopped and missed the entire run-up and insisted the 4-year cycle didn't exist last bull market. But that's fine. It's fine. All right, Bitcoin is green at the moment, $68,102. This is a tweezer bottom. If this 4-hour candle closes like that, we could see some decent upside out of that. Technically, if you're a candle person, double dipper, face ripper, I like it. All right. Boomers realizing that 90% of their net worth is in their house, but no one can afford to buy it from them. Oh no. What? What happened? Oh, that's good. That's good karma right there. Huge breaking news. Suspicious wallets. 10 fresh wallets just loaded over 160K on a ceasefire by end of March. Almost no history. All created around the same time. Potential payout over $1 million. Number go up. Breaking. Insiders just started aggressively dumping all assets ahead of the U.S. market open. Every single insider is selling billions right now. 0 buys, 108 sells. This does not look good for the markets. So we got two sides of the same coin. We got bullish. We got bearish. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Could be see you later. U.S. housing market demand is collapsing. U.S. new home sales fell 17.6% month over month in January to 587,000 units, the lowest since 2022. This marks the largest monthly drop since July 2013, far worse than the 2.7% down expected. Year-over-year sales fell 11.3%, the worst annual decline in 3 years. The Northeast was hit hardest, with sales plunging 44.7% month over month, followed by the Midwest at 33.9%. Furthermore, the median new home price fell 6.8% year over year to $400,000, the lowest since 2024, bringing the 3-month average down to $410K, the lowest since 2022. Meanwhile, mortgage rates have jumped 33 basis points over the last 2 weeks to 6.43%, the highest since September, marking the largest 2-week increase in nearly a year. Higher interest rates are back. No one's going to buy any houses with higher interest rates. They're not going to be able to afford the monthly payment. Lunar Entity said that's assuming a new monetary system isn't the macro play in that scenario. We go sideways and down for nearly a decade. That was the rise of the petrodollar regime, the current monetary system. Yeah. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. You know what's really spooky is when you look into his history, Scott Bessent is very famous for like derailing currencies on purpose. It's very scary. Scary guy. Scary fella for sure. Nasdaq looking green, apparently, since the open at least. Breaking Bitcoin extended losses and falls below 68K as President Trump's deadline for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz is now 26 hours away. That was 4 hours ago, so they're 22 hours away now. Breaking U.S. oil prices surge above $100 a barrel at the U.S. Open as President Trump's deadline for Iran for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz is now 25 hours away. And last but not least, we've got U.S. stock market futures fall at the open as markets react to President Trump's 48-hour deadline for Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. S&P 500 down 0.7%. Nasdaq 100 down 0.7%. Dow Jones down 0.6%. WTI crude up 2%. Brent up 1.5%. Gold down 2.5%. President Trump's deadline is now 25 hours away. Lunar Entity said Scott Bessent was an excellent asset to George Soros. Spooky fella. Telling you, spooky fella. We got a couple more updates from Kobe SE letter. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of updates. Jeez. U.S. oil prices erase gains and turn negative, falling below 98. Equity markets are also pairing losses. Oil prices are no longer the biggest threat to markets. It has become increasingly clear that bond markets will dictate just how long President Trump can continue increased pressure in the Iran war. The 10-year note yield is now up 45 basis points since the war began in February 28th. This is in line with the rapid surge seen around Liberation Day in April 2025 as the 10-year note yield surged above 4.5% in April 2025. President Trump began floating a potential tariff pause. And once the 10-year yield broke above 4.6%, President Trump officially implemented a 90-day pause on his reciprocal tariffs on April 9, 2025. With the 10-year note yield now up 4.4%, we believe the 4.5%, 4.6% range will be the line in the sand again. The U.S. economy cannot handle a 5% 10-year note yield. Japan's stock market falls over 4% on the day as energy crisis in Asia intensifies. Gold prices fall below $43.50 an ounce, now down over 5% since futures open. That's $1.5 trillion in market cap in 3 hours. I will say, what is the ramifications here with China buying so much gold and gold now falling as much as it has. Are they not going to be in trouble with all of this? Because they bought so much gold over the past year, and it seems like the value is going down. What's their average? I would like to know. And does that really matter? Does that matter at all? Because they have like 60% more money circulating than we do. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. Lunar Entity said, in the event that the plan is to end the current system, you'll see the dollar break 2022's ceiling, which is the polar opposite results of what Trump supposedly wants. So you think the dollar is going to pump? That's confusing. 2022 ceiling. 114? You think it's going to go above 115? That'd be pretty crazy. What does the S&P 500 look like compared to that? Whoa. Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah, DXY 99.587. It has been pumping, man. So we talked about this before too. This is a bear flag, bear pennant, whatever you want to call it. This is a very bearish pattern, like very easy to point out, easy to trade bearish pattern. And we've talked about also with crypto specifically, most of the time, we see bearish patterns break bullish. It's always a violent break. When we see bullish patterns break bearish, it's always a violent break. This is a bearish pattern that broke bullish, and it was a rather violent, especially for the DXY, break to the upside. And it almost immediately went above the previous high. Right here. Yeah, so, I don't know. Just interesting observation. Lunar Entity said, interested in DXY 6 months and 3 month, very interesting. I don't know if I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Very cool. Yeah, we have this trend line that goes all the way back to 2011. Uh-oh. That's a thing. We had resistance. That is most certainly a thing. Huh. Not a ton of confluence, but there is something there for sure. 3 month makes it even more obvious. Resistance, break, support, continuation. That's pretty spooky. Is the dollar just going to become even more strong? Why would they replace it if it's so strong? Spooky stuff, guys. Spooky stuff. All right, let's get back. The doom is strong today. Gold prices, we just read that. South Korea's stock market falls over 6% on the day as Asian markets react to the worsening energy crisis. Somehow, cryptocurrency is holding up, which is weird. Something very strange is happening in precious metals right now. In just 3 hours, gold and silver just erased a combined $2 trillion in market cap. Meanwhile, oil prices have erased their gains on the day, and U.S. stock market futures are nearly green. Since the Iran war began, such a reversal in oil and equities has almost always sent gold prices higher. So what just happened? The sporadic moves in price could signal the potential large player in space has been liquidated. Whoa. But more importantly, the persistent move higher on the 10-year note yield, which is now at 4.4% and up 45 basis points in 3 weeks, is beginning to weigh on various asset classes. Combine this with headline fatigue and pockets of liquidity in the market, and the massive gaps to both directions are only growing. Something big is happening in metals right now. That is pretty weird. Lunar Entity said stablecoins infecting local currency markets globally would result in dollar exposure, which would inevitably cause a collapse of adjacent currencies via access to USDC, USDT in the event of strength. A Trojan horse, if you will. Ooh, that's crazy. All right, that's last for Kobe. See you later. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird seeing Bitcoin not plummeting. Why is oil dumping along, or I guess why are gold and silver dumping alongside oil while stocks recover slightly and Bitcoin shows a little strength? What do you think? Let's just see what Grok's input is. Curious. Bitcoin's still chilling. Very curious. 67.5 is such an arbitrary number. But we have had this pattern kind of repeating over time. The fractal is so weird. That's such a weird fractal, man. How accurate this was up until the end. I could probably stretch it, actually. I'm not going to. I'm going to put it back. That looks so good, though. Okay. I'm gonna stretch it one more time. Just for a second. Let me see. Bear with me. What if we do this? I actually don't hate that. I don't know. If we start to recover on Tuesday, then I think the stretched fractal has some merit to it. We got 12 people watching, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate you guys for being here. We're trying to figure out what the heck's going on in gold and silver. Oh, they're actually recovered. Very nice. That's so weird. I wonder if the large player did get liquidated. Okay, Rock said the main driver, ongoing U.S.-Iran conflict, spiking energy prices and inflation fears, creating a weird short-term dynamic across assets. Oil initially surged hard due to supply risks like Strait of Hormuz disruption and attacks on facilities, surging oil, reigniting inflation worries. That kills Fed rate cut hopes, stronger U.S. dollar. Capital is flowing as the new safe haven play instead of metals to oil and energy. Okay. Negative correlation overriding traditional geopolitics. Profit taking. Okay. I hate the profit taking one. It doesn't make sense. Stocks slight recovery. Fits the risk off but not panic vibe. Markets sold off hard into correction territory. Into the war. Oil shock. Okay. What do I think? This screams short-term macro cross currents from the oil shock. Classic inflation plus higher interest rates or higher rates. Pain for PMs. What is PMs? Even in a hot war. It's not the end of the gold-silver bull. Debt deficits and long-term inflation still supportive, but the next few weeks could stay choppy until oil stabilizes or the Fed clarifies. Stocks mild recovery feels technical / relief driven rather than conviction. Watch for more downside if oil reaccelerates. Bitcoin's resilience is bullish for crypto believers. It might be the asset rotating into if traditional safe havens keep getting hit. Overall, markets are pricing contained chaos for now. Keep an eye on WTI / Brent, 10-year yields, and DXY. They're dictating everything. If the war de-escalates fast, PMs could snap back. If it drags, expect market volatility, not financial advice. Just connecting the dots from the data. What's your take or specific tickers / levels you're watching? Okay, I like it. Thank you, Grok. Yeah, weird market, man. Very, very weird market. Lunar Entity said 2008 also made it legally feasible in the event of banking insolvency to liquidate customer equities and defer customer assets to preferred creditors. Dang, that's crazy. Well, I suppose we call it an evening. Let's check the current poll. We are not tied, thankfully. I don't think we had any ties today, so thank you guys. I asked you guys, do you think altcoins are ever going to recover? 60% of you guys said no trust left. It was a scam. 40% of you guys said yes, they always do every time. Lunar Entity said, i.e., the bank is incentivized in a crisis to hand your account balance to preferred creditors. Yeah, that's what I figured. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, I appreciate you guys for coming on down. Join the Discord. Links in the description. It's completely free. It's a ton of fun. Like-minded folks. It's just a cool place to chill. Let's see if the Dow gets a little bounce here and then some further downside in April. Nasdaq, if we're going off the fractal, could use some further downside. Same with the S&P. But markets are rather indecisive at the moment. We'll see what plays out. As always, when the market starts to do anything crazy or anything at all, I will hop back on. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Happy Sunday and good night.